Against Dallas, Carson Wentz had 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and 2 interceptions. And a lot of lessons can be learned from Carson Wentz failures. The biggest lesson, in my opinion, is basically that Carson Wentz is trying to do way too much. He's trying to be Superman. And the Eagles have been hit by a ton of injuries. I think Carson Wentz is trying to compensate to make up for it. Okay, we may not have the guy we need there and there and there, but I'm going to put the team on my back and carry us to compensate for all the losses. He's holding onto the ball way too long. He's making risky throws. He's forcing throws into coverage. And I often relate playing quarterback to being a race car driver. I do that all the time. And, the offense and the system, the play calling, I call that the race car. And therefore, the quarterback is the driver. And the problem is right now, the Eagles' offense is not a sports car. They're more like an old, beat-up junker car. So you can have a race car driver, but he's driving a horrible car that's not actually a race car. And Carson Wentz hates losing. He's very, very competitive. And his fear is that if I just do my job and do it normally, I'm not going to be able to help my team enough to win football games. And so Carson's competitive nature is part of the problem right now in Philadelphia. But Carson needs to realize you can't add to and be part of the Eagles' problems on offense. Okay, you're missing a guy. He ran the route. He did this. He did this. He did that. You can't compound a mistake with your own mistake and add to the problem. So Carson Wentz just needs to execute and do his job. Do your job. Execute the offense. I always say drive the car down the road. Your job as a quarterback, you're in charge of this you're driving this incredible, nice sports car. Drive the car down the road. Do the little things. Execute. But the problem is Carson doesn't trust anybody around him. And he doesn't trust the system around him. Doesn't trust the play calling. And so if Carson Wentz ever gets benched, 2 things will have happened. Number 1, it would mean that the Eagles are sick of his antics. They're sick of Carson's crazy plays, throwing the ball across the field and doing dumb stuff. But it would also mean that number 2, Jalen Hurts, the backup quarterback, will have been doing a better job simply executing the offense. He's not doing any crazy stuff. He's taking all the throws that are there and doing the little things right. Carson Wentz is struggling with the little things. He needs to simply execute the offense. Again, just drive the car down the road. Just drive the car, Carson. That's all you got to do. Stop trying to do these wacky things where you roll out right and you hold on to the ball way too long, you get sacked and you fumble, or you throw the ball into traffic. Because Carson Wentz is incredibly talented. I would say that he is one of the most talented, physically gifted quarterbacks in all of the NFL. And I just think that Carson Wentz has to stop getting in his own way. He's got an incredible arm. He can run. He can make all kinds of plays, but he's got to execute and do the little things right if he wants to keep his job, basically. He's got to turn things around and start executing and stop making these crazy, ridiculous, attempts at trying to be Superman. Now, there are 2 more small lessons you can learn from Carson Wentz and his problems and his mistakes. These are mistakes that led to turnovers where, first there's an interception on a deep ball to John Hightower. Hightower is running a deep post, and Carson throws it really to the wrong location. He's got to lead John Hightower across the field away from the defenders where there's really nobody. If you look at the middle of the field, kind of across the field to the right side, there's nobody on that side of the field. Lead your receiver away from a defender. Instead, Carson throws it more vertical and helps the young rookie corner for Dallas get an interception. Instead of throwing it across the field, it gets picked off because he left it too vertical down the field. Now, the final lesson is this. I always say that young quarterbacks have to know when a blitz is coming, and you need to know where it's coming from and how to beat that blitz with a throw. So on a 4th and 3, Carson did not recognize Cowboys linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, blitz right up the middle. And the lesson here is that if a team blitzes, that means that there's a weakness in the coverage. Either they're in man coverage downfield or a void has been opened up in zone coverage somewhere in their coverage. And Vander Esch blitzing left a void wide open in the middle of the field. And Carson not only doesn't see the blitz, he also does not see Greg Ward standing wide open, number 84 standing wide open in the middle of the field. I mean, there are literally 2 Eagles receivers wide open in the middle. So, young quarterbacks, you always have to understand how to beat a blitz. You have to have a plan. What's your plan? When they blitz, know where it's coming from, know when it's happening, and have a plan to beat the blitz with your arm throwing the football.